question. My name is Annette Scheffler, and I'm actually a customer relationship manager with SentriLock. Can everyone see my screen? I do believe most people said they can. I know there was a couple people that just came online. If you could go ahead and mute your phones, that would be great, and then just unmute them if you have questions. So today we're going to go through the SentriLock site, and some of the things that we're going to go through is we're going to talk a little bit about what the agents, the brokers are going to be getting, and we'll talk about their SentriSmart that they're going to be getting. Now, you guys will not be getting access to the SentriSmart app, but you'll have access to the actual online portion of our system, and there's certain things that you can do to actually help out your agents and your brokers in the office. So we wanted to make sure that each of you knew how to do that. So then we're going to go also through what those access steps are, and then we'll just go through some best practices. So what they're going to get when they come in next week, they're going to get Bluetooth lock boxes, and they look like this. Oops, sorry about that. Let me try it again. They're going to look like this. The only difference is they will have a red label on the front for Canada. And then they're also going to be able to go out and from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, they're going to download an app called SentriSmart. So some of them might be coming in and asking you for help to get that done. The biggest problem we have with downloading the SentriSmart app is they need to be able to log into either their Play Store or their Apple App Store, and they forget their passwords. So you might have to help them remember. I usually ask them if they have a child or a grandchild that might know their password, and then they're able to, oh yeah, they set it up for me, and they get their password, and then they're downloading SentriSmart. When they download this, they're going to be able to see two things that start SENTRI, and there's a SentriSmart and a SentriConnect. Make sure they're doing the SentriSmart. SentriConnect is a different app that's going to be used for those out-of-area agents, and we'll talk about that a little bit later also. But make sure that they have their lockboxes and their SentriSmart app. So the Bluetooth lockbox itself looks like this. On the top, you're going to have these little indicator lights. And on the indicator lights, you're going to see green and red. So when they bring in their lockbox and they show it to you and say it's not working, a lot of times they might see a green light. Green light means ready, go, just like it does for anything else, like a go light on a stop sign. So when they see ready, they're going to, more than likely the lockbox is getting ready to open up. The red light, it usually means stop. So that means do not disturb. They're going to see this when they're removing the shackle on the lockbox. We make this red light go off because we don't want them jamming that shackle back in. If they do that before that red light, because the motor has to run, it might jam the lockbox, and then they're going to have to call our support center to be able to go and unjam that lockbox by recalibrating the motor on it. So we always tell them, and this is something we teach them in class, is that be patient, watch the lights. When you take the shackle off, you'll see a ready light, pull up on the shackle, you'll wait till the red light goes off, you'll put the shackle back into the lockbox. Another thing that they're going to look at is this little blue light. The one thing that we teach them is the enter key. When they press that enter key, that's what wakes up this lockbox and makes it be a Bluetooth lockbox. Otherwise, it's just a piece of lockbox sitting on the house. So when they hit the enter key, what it does is it ignites the Bluetooth technology, and they'll see a flashing blue light right here on the lockbox. And then what they're going to do is they'll open up their SentriSmart app, and then all of a sudden it'll show up in their app. They'll be able to select that lockbox. They'll be able to put their thumbprint or their PIN ID or their facial recognition, and the lockbox will open, and the keys will come out. Be able to take the keys out to open the house. So that's really how the lockbox works. So if they come in and ask you the keys, that you're going to be looking at these lights, you're also going to be looking at the enter key and then the shackle on the top. This is what SentriSmart looks like, just so you guys will have an idea, because like I said, even though you're not getting SentriSmart, they're going to come in and ask you about it. There's 4 pieces to SentriSmart. There's the mobile access part, the message center, the Lockbox tools, and the settings tab. When you are a selling agent, 99% of your time is going to be right here in the mobile access tab. So the mobile access tab is where they're going to open up their SentriSmart app. It goes directly to the mobile access tab, and they're going to be able to access lock boxes, open them up, and be able to get the keys out. if they're managing their own lockboxes, so they have their own lockboxes that they want to remove the shackles on, they want to be able to open up the key and put the keys in, they want to assign it to a listing, they want to change defaults such as setting times, things like that. They're going to do all that. They're going to manage all of that information in their Lockbox tools. This is also where they're going to grant access for out-of-area agents. They're going to let a locked-out homeowner in. All of that stuff is through the Lockbox tools. And then there's the Message Center. This is where they're going to get all their notifications. So when they download the SentriSmart app, it asks them if they want to enable push notifications. They're going to want that because instead of getting like tons of text messages from SentriLock, everything is going to be located inside this app in the Message Center. So this is where they'll go. They'll see the showing notifications. They'll see if there's a low battery on the lockbox, things like that. Everything will go right there in that Message Center. And lastly, the settings. The settings is where all their information is as far as their password, their PIN, their access information. So if they want to change the PIN that they have, or they want to turn on something like Agent Safety, which is a product that we have for them that we'll teach them about, everything is done in their Settings tab. So just so you know, on their they have non-Sentrilock users are able to actually come in and use our lockboxes. The way that they can do it is it's granting it through their app. Now you guys, I'm going to show you how you can do it using the actual website later, but I thought it was important that you see also that these agents and the brokers can also do it through the Lockbox tools. So what this does is it provides Lockbox access to those non-Sentrilock users, such as the Toronto agents. So the Toronto agents call and make an appointment to get into the property. They no longer are going to be getting a code. What you're going to do is you're going to grant them access for a specific time frame to be able to use the property. So the listing agent or the Lockbox owner is going to go into their Lockbox tools. They're going to select the Lockbox they want to grant them access to, and they're going to click on Grant SentriConnect Access. Once they do that, it's going to come up with this, and it's going to ask them to put in that person's email address, and then it's going to ask them the start time and the end time of when they want to be able to grant them access. So if someone says that they want to show the property between 1 and 3, I'm going to tell you, I heard that agents are late sometimes, so they're probably going to want to spread that out to like maybe 1 to 4 just to give them that time frame, because once that time, the end time ends, they are not going to be able to get in that property with that SentriConnect until you grant them another access. So again, we want to make sure we give them the time frame that they need. Also, they can revoke that. If for some reason, let's say the property sold before that person was going in on Saturday and you don't want them to go in, you can go in and revoke their access. So that's why we like them to use the SentriConnect. They also can get them in using one-day codes. We actually tell that mostly the one-day code should be used for like locked-out homeowners, maybe a contractor or out-of-area agent that does not have a smartphone. If they don't have a smartphone and they're not able to get into the property, you can actually give them a one-day code. It's Lockbox date and specific. The lockbox has to be assigned to a listing, so that's why we want to make sure, and I'll talk to you about assigning lockboxes to a listing in a little bit here. It also requires input of who the code is given to so that you could track that. And then that code is good for that day. So if I say that I'm going to grant somebody access on Saturday, once that person goes in and uses that code, it doesn't matter what time they go in. Let's say they go in at noon, it's good for 60 minutes. And then that code expires. So these codes are only valid for a certain period of time, and it's 60 minutes from the time it's first used during that day. So now we're going to go into what you guys are actually going to do. I'm going to show you how you're going to be able to get access to our website and what kind of functions that you're going to be able to provide to as a brokerage staff person. Is there any questions on the other stuff that I showed as far as the agents, what they're going to see and how they're going to use the system? It's going to be a little different than what you guys do. I know everybody's on mute, so I'll wait a second. All right. So now we're going to talk about the actual SentriLock website. So you are going to, the first time that you come in here, you're going to go to SentriLock.com. When you go to SentriLock.com, I'm actually going to bring it up so you can see it also. Bear with me here a second. I have to bring up another screen. Here we go. So this is SentriLock.com. You're going to click on this Agent Login button. When you get there, it's going to ask you for your username and your password. Well, you guys don't have a username yet. So what you're going to do is you're going to enter your MLS ID, and then you're going to click on Forgot Password. So once you click on the Forgot Password, it's going to bring up this screen, and it's going to ask you for your username again. So you're going to put in your MLS ID, and then you're going to say Send Email. Now the email that's associated with your record that's inside SentriLock is where this email is going to go. If you do not get that email, you need to contact the board and have them check what email address we sent it to. So they can look at that, and if it's an incorrect email address, then we need to make sure it's changed on the MLS so it gets sent over to us properly. And then we can, once you receive that, you can set up your new password. When you log in for the first time, it's going to come up and it's going to ask you what permission type you'll have. You'll want to select the office staff permission for the office that you are being office staff for. So you'll select that, and then you'll hit Submit. So once we're in there, and I will show you this too, there's certain things that you guys are going to be doing. Some of the things are you might have to assign a lockbox to a listing. So let's say that the person goes out and puts a lockbox on the property, and they come back and they said, here, I put lockbox 12345 on the property at 1234 Main Street, but I didn't assign it. Can you assign the lockbox for me? I'll show you how you can do that. I'm going to also show you how you can grant SentriConnect access. So let's say a Toronto agent does call into your office. You verify who they are and accept that they're going to go in the property between 1 to 3. You can grant them access via the website. The same with one-day codes. And then I'm going to show you how you can look at access reports on the lockboxes. You can look at the agent access report so you can see, where they're going and what they're doing. And then also some company reports that you can look at and run for the actual broker. So assigning a lockbox to a listing, this is what our website looks like once you log in. So once you log in, you're going to have all these selections at the top, and there will be some stuff down the side too. But for right now, what we're going to do is assign a lockbox to a listing. So you're going to navigate to what we call the Properties tab. Once you're in the Properties tab, it's going to bring up this search filter here, and you're going to look for the serial number of the lockbox. So this guy came back and he said, I put 175559 on the property at 100 Chestnut Street. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll select the listing or the lockbox serial number, and then it'll bring up this box. In this box, you'll see listing, and then it'll say unassigned, and you'll click on Submit or Select. Once you click on Select, it'll bring up all the listings that are in your office. You can scroll through those listings, and you'll be able to pick the listings for that lockbox that they're placing it on. And then you'll hit Submit Changes, and then now this lockbox is associated with 1234 Main Street. Now let's say that this lockbox is an exclusive listing and it does not go on your MLS. That happens, right? Well, if that does, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to add a listing. So if you have an exclusive listing that you are not having to put on the MLS, there is a way that you can still do that. So you can use the SentriConnect, you can use the one-day code, you can use all the features that need to have with the lockbox in order to have it assigned. What you would do is out on the left-hand side, you'll see a thing called Add Listing. So you'll click on that, and it's real simple. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 fields that you actually have to fill out. And I apologize. This is American, so it says city, and it should say Providence there. You are going to go in and select the listing agent that you are putting the listing in for, or the lockbox on the listing for. You'll put in the address of the exclusive listing, the Providence it's in, and then the state would be, of course, the Ontario or whatever, where you guys are located, and then hit Save Changes. Once you do that, now when you go back and you're assigning that lockbox to a listing, it will show up in your list and you'll be able to select that exclusive listing. Does that make sense to everyone? Yay. Next, we're going to talk about SentriConnect access. So now this lockbox is on a listing, and that Toronto agent calls in and they want to view it. So what you're going to do is you're going to go into SentriLock. You're going to click on the Properties tab. In the All Fields search field, you're going to type in the address of the lockbox that you want to grant SentriConnect for. Once it comes up, you're going to click on that address, and it's going to bring up this screen right here. You're going to fill out the listing agent of who you're going to grant the access for. Sorry, no, you're going to click Grant Access. Sorry about that. And then you're going to enter in the user's email address, the lockbox serial number, the start and end time, and you're going to click Grant Access. At that point, what happens is you have now, they're going to get an email address. And the first time that this member actually is accessing using SentriConnect, they are going to get an email from SentriLock that tells them how to download the app, how to create their credentials to get in, and then they'll, once they have that app on their phone, then the next time they'll just get a message in their message center that says you've been granted access to this one lockbox. So they can't get into all the lockboxes anywhere in your area. They'll only be able to access that one lockbox for that specific time that you gave them to. When they use that access that you gave them to, you will get or the listing agent will get an email telling them that that person actually went into their property and what time they did. So it's a very safe way to use it. Now let's say that you have a person that does not have they have a flip phone or a older BlackBerry that doesn't use Android, so you need to generate a one-day code for them. You can do that also by navigating to the home screen. So by clicking Main Menu, go down to the left-hand side, click on Add a One-Day Code. Once you click on Add One-Day Code, it's going to ask you to select the lockbox that you want to do the one-day code for, the date that it's valid for, and then you're going to click on Generate Code. Once you click on Generate Code, it's going to ask you to assign it to someone. I would suggest when you're doing this to enter the user's name, their company, and their contact information. That way you know specifically who you actually assign that one-day code to. And then when you hit Assign, it'll give you the code, and you'll be able to give that code to the person, and they just walk up to the lockbox, they press Enter, type in the code you gave them, and Enter, and the lockbox will open. This is a great way to get people in, except for if they do have a smartphone, you want to be able to have them use the SentriConnect. And the reason being is SentriConnect is a much safer way because we know when they've been in, when they can't been out. Generating a one-day code, what that does, lets them get into the property, but we don't know they've been in there until the next person that comes in opens it with their phone, grabs that information off from the lockbox, and pushes it up to our server. The lockbox doesn't talk to our server. The phones talk to the server. So making the most of the system. So I'm sure you guys have people that are on agent teams out there. So let's say that Joe Realtor wants to be able to share lockboxes with Jane Realtor and vice versa. They each went out and got 2 lockboxes. They want to be able to share their lockboxes together. So what an agent team does is it allows them to be able to share ownership privileges to those lockboxes. So each of them will be able to see those lockboxes in their lockbox tools. They'll be able to release the shackles on them. They'll be able to open them up. They'll be able to see the notifications coming back and forth for those lockboxes. So in order to do that, you're going to, oops, I was going to show that live. So hold on, let me get my system back up here so I can show you how to set up a team. I'm going to go into Barry. So what you're going to do is you're going to navigate to the left-hand side. You're going to click on Agent Team. You're going to click on Add a Team Member. You're going to select the agent. I'm not going to really do this, but I'm going to pretend. So I'm going to select the agent that has the lockboxes and hit Submit. And then I'm going to select who her team member is. And I'm going to hit Submit. Then I would save that change. Then if Melissa also has lockboxes, I would reverse this and put Melissa up here and Nicole down here. Save the changes. Now they're on a team together. Now they can share lockboxes. They can release the shackles. They can do whatever. So if someone comes back from training and asks you to set them up on a team, this is how you're going to do that. And then once you're done, you'll be able to see that they're on a team by looking at their profile. Make sense?
Yep.
All right. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about reports. So Lockbox accesses. So you might have one of the agents come in and say, I want a report of everybody that accessed this Lockbox. Well, they can do it themselves, but if they ask you to do it because, you're their right-hand man, you are going to navigate to the Properties tab, and then you're going to click on the serial number of the Lockbox that you want to see the access log for. And then you're going to click on View Access Log. Once you do that, it's going to bring up this dialog, and you can either select a certain time frame that you want to look for, or you could say, I want to show all the accesses. Once you do that and you view the log, it's going to bring up all of the information such as Joe Realtor went in at 2 o'clock, Jane went in at 3 o'clock, so-and-so went in on this date. And it'll just show you all the different accesses, and you can actually, take that and show that to your broker that's asking for that information. Another thing you can look at is SentriSmart accesses. So you want to see what that agent is actually going in to look at. So you're going to navigate to the Users tab. So on the Users tab, it's going to bring you up a list of all the users in your office, and you'll be able to search by their last name, or you can just click on it. It'll show you what their access number is. You can look at their access log. So you're going to click on View Access Log, and it's going to show you all the places that Ms. Kimberly Ryder has been to. So Ryder can go in and you can look and see that they've been at what properties and what date and what time they actually went into those properties. So that's the SentriSmart Access Report. So you'll click on it, you'll say what date and time just like you did for the other report, and then you'll be able to see it. Now in the Reports tab, so from at the main menu, you're going to go over to the Reports tab. You'll be able to see a lot of different reports out there. You'll be able to see a Client Listing Access Report. You can look at lockboxes for that office. All of these are downloadable as a spreadsheet. If you click on this side of it, it'll give you a PDF that you could print off also. You can look at who has what accesses. You can look at what agents are in there. You guys know all your agents and users. I think the biggest thing is going to be looking at your lockboxes, client access listings, and probably the support tickets. Anybody that's called in from your office, you'll be able to see what they called in to support for and what they needed help with. And that's about it that you guys are going to be using on the website. We're going to talk a little bit about best practices, making the most of the system, getting started, and how to get help. So you guys have what we call reciprocal access with all of the Ortis and Ontario boards. So you have Brantford, Cambridge, Guelph, Kitchener, Mississauga, Southern Georgiana Bay, Woodstock, Simcoe, Grey Bruce Sound, and Niagara. So what that means is they do not need to have SentriConnect access to access your system. They'll still use they'll call to make a showing. So they'll call and say, I want to show your property at 1234 Main Street. Once you approve that, they can use their credentials from Brantford or Guelph or whatever board they're with to access the lockboxes in your area. It's those people that are outside of these areas that are going to need the SentriConnect access. So best practices, when we talk about the lockbox, we want to make sure that the lockboxes are assigned to listings because that utilizes all the features of the lockbox, such as the SentriConnects, the one-day codes, all of those things are able, and you're able to see where the lockbox is located. So when you get these notifications that say that so-and-so has been in the property, you're going to be able to go in and see all of that information. Also, this lockbox is water resistant, not waterproof. So what that means is we don't want the agents hanging them on a downspout or a water spigot. As you can see on this picture here, we have this looks like a hole where people can get in, but it isn't. It's designed that way so that the water flows down through. So when it's hanging on a door upright like this, the water will flow down, the snow will fall down, everything will fall down through these cracks and not get inside the actual lockbox. We do want it hanging as vertical as possible. I mean, you can have it a little bit to the side or whatever. We just don't want it laying on its back. And then rotate the boxes you know, if you have 10 lock boxes, have the agents use different lock boxes. Don't keep using the same one. It maximizes the batteries. The batteries are designed to last between 6 to 8 years. However, with that being said, it is a mechanical device. If something happens for some reason, let's say that the Bluetooth sticks on forever, it's going to make the battery life go down. If that happens, I provide free batteries to the board office. And they can call, get free batteries from the board, and then replace the batteries which are located inside the lockbox. There's also a little gray bin inside this lockbox. We want to make sure the keys fit inside there. So if a homeowner gives you a key with a big key fob on it, take the key fob off. We don't want it getting caught into the motor of that lockbox. We have lots of help you can get. So if you go to SentriLock.com, let me go back there again, there's actually a help topics that you can get, and you can click on any of these to get more information. So if you guys are using the Lockbox website, you can click on Lockbox website. It'll bring up information on that. We have a YouTube channel called SentriLock 1. Has tons of videos on how to open up the lockbox, how to do different things on the lockbox. So take a look at that. And we also have our SentriLock support center that the agents can use to call in when they need help. And that's what I have, but I am going to go back to my thing here so that I can and then answer any questions. So feel free to take yourself off mute and ask me any questions that you can think of that you want to. Do I have any? Oh, it's like chirp, chirp. I heard somebody beep in. Does anybody have a question? I can't hear you, whoever's talking.
Hello.
I'm going to go.
Hi, it's Leanne. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So when our agents get their lock boxes next week from the board, will they already be assigned to their listings, or does that have to be done manually?
No, they have to, they actually, what they'll do is they'll get the lock boxes, they'll be assigned to them as their lock box, but it won't be assigned to a listing. What they'll do is when they go out and they release the shackle on the lock box, it'll ask them if they want to assign it to a listing. So there's no reason why they shouldn't do it, because when they lift that shackle off, on their phone it's going to say, would you like to assign this to a listing? And they click yes or assign. It'll bring up a list of all of their listings. They'll select which one they're going to place it on, click on it, and say okay, and then it's done, and it's assigned to it.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, so they should be able to do it themselves. I think the only time that you guys are really going to have to assign a lockbox to a listing is for those exclusive listings that are not on the MLS, or for some reason maybe something didn't come across from the MLS into your association and you need to temporarily put that on. There's also, like, maybe it's a new listing. They went out there, signed someone up, to sell their property. They haven't put it in the MLS yet, and you can actually enter it into SentriLock, and then as soon as it comes from the MLS, it'll marry it together, or you can pend it out. They can pend it while they're out on site, and we'll be teaching them how to do that too. And then as soon as that MLS number comes across from your MLS, it'll marry the two together, and then it'll have an address on it.
Great, thank you.
Yep. This is actually the help site, by the way. So there's all kinds of stuff out here for the agent to look at and for you. And here's like all the information on the website itself. So if you click on it, you could come in here and learn how to generate a one-day code, do all the different things that we just talked about. And then also at the very bottom, it takes you to our video tips and tricks also. And then you can come here to go to the YouTube to get to that SentriLock 1 YouTube channel. It really, it's not a, go in, get your credentials today, play around a little bit, take a look at it, and then, if, pardon? Do I have any other questions? Well, I really appreciate all of your time today. I hope that was helpful in getting you guys started on this, and we're looking forward to being there next week. I'm going to be the trainer for the agents also, so I'm the one you can blame afterwards.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I said thank you. We'll see you then.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too. Bye.
Bye.